Hey guys, welcome back to Tia Things. Welcome back to my channel. If you've watched my previous videos, if you haven't, welcome. Today we are talking books. So today's video has been long overdue. I'm so sorry. But as some of you may know, if you follow me on Instagram or on my blog, we have been in the process of moving. So I am in a whole new setting, and that is because we moved in September. It feels like forever ago now, but we've basically been just working on getting the place together. So I'm finally back and ready to talk books. So I've done a lot of reading. As a lot of you know, my Zen time, my hobby, my way of really taking time for myself and unwinding is to read. And in the very hectic life of moving, I read as much as I could. Obviously, there were some weeks where there was zero reading, and then some weeks where there was a lot of reading. So today, we're gonna kick it off with probably my all-time favorite series. If it's not my all-time favorite series, it's definitely the one that I've reread the most. It just makes me happy. It is a go-to since I've been, I don't know, 16, 17, I've been reading these. So this series is The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. So it's a 3-book series. The first is The Summer I Turned Pretty. The second is It's Not Summer Without You. And the third is We'll Always Have Summer. So I'm gonna dive right in because these are my absolute favorites. So first up, The Summer I Turned Pretty starts in a moving car. Belly, Isabel, nicknamed Belly, is the main character. She introduces you to her mom and her brother who are in the car with her. And she right away explains that they're on their way to this summer beach house where they spend most of their summers with her mom's best friend and her sons, and that they've been doing this since they were kids. It's a very tight-knit situation, really close. And not long after the book starts, Belly gets out of the car, greeted by the 2 teenage boys, the sons of her mom's best friend, Conrad and Jeremiah. And right away, you know, she's 16, they're looking at her differently, she feels it, she knows it, she doesn't really get why, but they're all looking at her like she's an alien. She was always so comfortable with Jeremiah, they're about the same age, so that there's more of a comfort level there. Her and Conrad have always been uncomfortable. She's been like obsessed with him and in love basically since she's been a kid. We all had one of those people in our lives, we get it. So really, her and Conrad had this tension. He's 18 and she's 16, and I believe Jeremiah is 17. I think he's like in between them. So the book starts. It's her first summer there as like a teen where she can really attend the parties with the boys and she's not left out anymore. There's just a lot of tension between the 2 brothers. She doesn't really get why. And her brother kind of goes right in with them. He's like the 3rd adopted brother. They all get along so well. And, you know, through parties, through this, through that, she's really getting the fact that something's up because Conrad is acting weird, something's going on. He's really being a little shit, basically. He's partying, he's getting into fights, all of that stuff. So the summer just goes on. She meets someone else at one of the parties, which upsets both brothers. And she starts seeing this guy. She and Conrad throughout the book have these little flirty moments, but it's like he knows it's flirty, but it shouldn't be because she's the little girl that she used to be. But she's not, she's 16. I do find here that they act a little bit odd. I find they make it seem like there's such a huge age difference when really it's just like 2, maybe 3 years if I'm not remembering correctly, but it's definitely not more than that. So I definitely find it a little bit overdone in terms of the age gap. They are 16 and 18. It's completely in the normal range, but he's definitely fighting her off. She knows that he likes her. There's flirtation there on and off, and they're really there for each other. As much as they have like this awkward flirtation and tension, at the same time, they get each other just by like looking at each other. She knows when he's going through something. He knows when she needs something. It's a really nice bond. And basically everything comes to a head when they're at this party and Conrad's about to get into a fight and Belly steps in to stop him. So, you know, she gets in there, she pushes him back, she keeps her hand on his chest, he tries to get her out of the way so she doesn't get hurt. So now they can't really ignore this anymore. Her brother saw this, Stephen. His brother saw this, Jeremiah. Jeremiah is a little bit more in the background in this book. but it's kind of obvious that he also has a crush on Belly. It's like one of those things, you know? They don't say it, but we get it as a reader, which is obviously really well done. Shout out to Jenny Han. And essentially the book ends with them finding out that Conrad and Jeremiah's mom, Susanna, has cancer again. She had cancer in the past and it's back. And Conrad was acting out all summer because he knew. And that was like a lot on his shoulders. And basically all of this comes out at the end of the book. And he's going off to college. So the summer ends, Susanna's sick, and he's going off to college. They're all going back home. It's been an odd summer. She and Conrad do share a kiss, but he tells her he just can't be the guy for her right now with his mom sick. He's not in that headspace, so on and so forth. At the very end of the book, he calls her house a few times, they chit chat, and then he's doing well, his mom's doing well, so he's getting a little bit more confident and secure in going after this with Belly. Her mom knows, her brother knows, which is a little bit awkward, but generally it's okay. And the book just ends with him asking her if she can meet him outside. He's driving to see her. That's how the book ends. So that is book 1, chapter 1, whatever you want to call it. Number 2, it's not something they're no longer together. And then everything comes to a head when Susanna does pass away. Huge spoiler alert, guys. I'm going to put a huge spoiler alert attention thing before because I'm just spoiling it all. Susanna passes away. So now Belly has no choice but to confront both boys, to see them, and obviously she's hurting. Susanna was like a second mother to her, so there's a lot of emotion there. Conrad is being a total dick, but he lost his mom, so what are you gonna do? He's allowed to. And there's just a lot there. And basically, Conrad goes missing at one point. Jeremiah calls Belly. He needs to find her because if Conrad doesn't do his exams, he will be kicked out of medical school. I don't think he's in medical school yet. I think that's a goal, but he won't be able to get in if he doesn't do these exams. They go on this whole trip trying to find him. They find him. They find out why he ran. I don't know if I should spoil this or not. Basically, his dad was going to sell the beach house. He went there to protect it, to make sure it didn't get sold. And that is where he and Belly also are in a super awkward position. Obviously, they've broken up. They've gotten into huge arguments, but they're still flirting. So there's obviously still feelings there. And you kind of don't know where this is going to go throughout the whole second book. You're like on and off. Like they might get back together. They might not. But you also see Jeremiah's feelings growing and his and Belly's connection and friendship growing. So you see a lot of tug of war there. At the end of the book, Jeremiah and Belly do make out, and unfortunately, Conrad does walk in on that. That's really cringe. It hurts my soul. But it is kind of, I think, the awakening they all needed. Like, we got to pull our shit together. So the second book ends with Jeremiah bringing Belly home. Conrad's given him the go-ahead. You can be with her. And so they're holding hands as they drive home. That's how the second book ends. Now, let's get to the third book. We'll Always Have Summer. It's wild. Like, these kids, I lose sleep over this shit, man. These kids are wild. So the book starts. They're in college now, Belly and Jeremiah. They go to the same college. They're dating. I think it's been like 2 years now, or a year, something like that, since the last book. Life is good. She's making friends in college. She's living her life. They're talking about moving in together. Like, everything's going well. Then it goes to shit. So again, huge spoiler. She finds out that he's on her. This is kind of a Ross and Rachel situation because they were on a break, but I'll let you read and figure out which side you're on. Basically, in like a desperate attempt to get her back and to prove to her that he will never do it again, he proposes to Belly. They get engaged. Most awkward shit ever is when they have to announce it to their family, and Conrad's there. She hasn't seen him in like 2 years since the whole last book. She's been with Jeremiah. Everything's been chill. He's back. She needs to tell him and her whole family. The families lose their shit. Her mom is like, hell no, you're 19. There's no reason to rush. She wants to get married, but she also can't explain to everyone why she can't wait. So there's that internal battle. You see it there. And the whole book is her planning this wedding, Conrad being there, the tension, Jeremiah kind of knowing there's still something going on there, but denial, and just all of this wrapped into one. I'm gonna skip here because it's a lot of roller coaster. And essentially, Conrad at the very end of the book finds out that Jeremiah cheated on her the day before her and Jeremiah's wedding. He tells her, thinking she doesn't know. Finds out she knows. He gets very mad that she would accept that from anyone. They get into it and talk about how he mistreated her when they were together. And that just brings up a whole flood of emotions, a whole flood of the past. There's a lot there. And he tells her he's in love with her. He always has been. We all knew that. We were just waiting for him to grow up and grow the balls to tell her. The book ends. Belly decides not to get married, but she decides to be alone. She travels to Spain. She does semesters abroad. She lives her own life, which I think is really key here, because she just went from one to the other. And then had she just gone back with Conrad, it would have been like so disappointing. So she actually goes off, does her own thing for a couple years, graduates, and at graduation is the first time where she sees them again. And she like instantly knows what she's supposed to do, who she's supposed to be with. And in the flash forward, you finally find out that she does end up with Conrad after almost marrying his brother, which is kind of weird, but we're gonna let it slide because it's a good story. And finally they get their happily ever after. There's a nod to his mom, there's a nod to her brother, to his brother, to her family. Everything kind of comes full circle. I really like the flash forward. And that's why I really like these books, honestly. They're heavy on the heart, but not too heavy. It's still a romance, a teen drama. You still want to read through it. It's an easy read. And they're just great books. So shout out to Jenny Han for always being my go-to. I've probably reread this series 15 to 20 times, if not more, honestly. Sometimes I'll skip a book. Yes, I can, because I've already read it. And that is basically the gist for the Summer I Turned Pretty and that 3-book series. So go ahead and drop any recommendations in the comments below. I'm reading like crazy lately, so I want to hear all your recommendations. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.